Mumble. I was going to say mumble.
Gonna do both, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just grabbing.
Fuck, I need a new... Oh, is it going to do the fucking changing your key every time? Bollocks. Right, hold on. I can't get another stream key.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Edit.
Oh, God, I feel weak. Mm.
I think we might actually be live on YouTube. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. I just got to sort Rumble out.
Mm.
We're live. You two talk for a sec while I figure out fucking Rumble.
Well, I must say, I did notice today just how dark everything's been. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
It got to like, I want to say 3:30, but actually that's 4:30. Because I don't really understand daylight savings and Greenwich Mean Time, and I wish they'd just pick a number and stick to it. But point being, it's what looks like mid-afternoon to me, and it's already dark and twilight. And now it's just, it's fully night time. I don't know. To me that.
Are we live?
We're not live on Rumble yet, for fuck's sake.
The main thing is just the fact that it's really just, it was dark all day.
It's fucking fine, you dumb cunt.
Oh, is it being special?
It's being fucking gay.
Yeah. It's Vincent Bruno.
Yes, it's based on Vincent Bruno pilled.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't describe him as based, but certainly
it's a different slot number. You have to change the fucking thing every time. That's gonna be really annoying.
Oh, I don't like that.
Right, so we should be, give it a couple of seconds, and we're live on Rumble as well. That's that sorted. So you've got to change the URL and stream key every single time. There must be a way of stopping doing that.
I don't know.
I'll figure that out later.
Yeah, because I was gonna start streaming on Rumble because I get annoyed with YouTube and that stupid you don't want to see the chat. Here's a Cupid heart in the bottom right corner. And then I thought, well, I'll be on OBS, so I'll be able to use the chat doc. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to put the stupid thing in the corner, and you try and click on it to get rid of it. It's like, oh, you must sign into YouTube. And it's like, well, I'm already signed into YouTube. Otherwise, how am I uploading to YouTube if I'm not signed in?
Oh yeah, are you sure? Something slightly changed. We need your phone number again. That thing. Yeah.
Well, nothing's changed. It's just, we felt a bit lonely, so give us your phone number again.
Craig Wilson says we should hibernate like the bears. At least I'd wake up thin.
That would be great. Imagine that.
Well,
yeah.
Bears don't shit, piss, or sweat during their hibernation.
Don't they?
They don't. No, they don't drink either.
So, how does their water system work then?
It shuts down.
Okay.
Makes you wonder why the Louvre didn't have any toilets. So.
Yeah, let's talk about Richard Trenton Chase. He's a very sensible man. Richard Trenton Chase, he was born May 23rd, 1950, died December 26th, 1980, spoilers. He was an American serial killer, cannibal and necrophile who killed 6 people in Sacremento, California from December 1977 to January 1978, so pretty short run there.
Now then, there's only one necrophile.
Name is Dracula.
It was nicknamed the Vampire of Sacramento because he drank his victim's blood, and you won't believe what's the internet speak for that, and you won't believe why.
Clickbait.
He cured himself with this one weird trick.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not really. So Chase
Doctors
obviously
hate him.
What's that?
Click here to find out why.
Yeah. Click here to find out why. Yeah. So he exhibited evidence of all three parts of the McDonald triad. Do you know what the McDonald triad is, lads?
The McDonald's triad, is that like some kind of like Chinese McDonald's ripoff that's like, you know?
So,
triad.
I know some of you lads don't believe in psychiatry, but it's the triad of sociopathy or homicidal triad. Set of three factors: the presence of any two which are considered to be predictive of or associated with violent tendencies, particularly with a relation to serial offences. The triad was first proposed by psychiatrist J.M. MacDonald in The Threat to Kill, a 1963 article.
Loving it.
Yeah. So the triad links cruelty to animals, obsession with fire setting, and persistent bedwetting past the age of 5.
What?
So a lot of your serial killers, they have these things in their past.
They wet themselves.
Obsession with fire setting.
After 5.
Yeah.
Hang on. Can you explain to me the obsession with fire setting? Like, it's really fastidious with a thermostat or something.
I don't think they mean in your fire. They don't mean in your fireplace, I mean. I think it generally means fire setting in houses and businesses you don't own.
Oh.
Oh, so often.
Yeah.
Hobbit was getting worried there. He's like, shit, I make fires every day. I'm a psychopath.
He's not going to tell us about the bedwetting past the age of 5.
Yeah, I know. It's not right. Hobbit, have you ever wet the bed? Please tell us.
He's gone quiet.
No comment, actually.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
More than that.
It was the fire setting bit which threw me for a loop, because I thought to myself, well, like setting fires, like arson, then. So,
well, it's obviously a euphemism for arson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like when illegals get called undocumented.
Yes, exactly. It's just like that.
Also, like the hit song, like Firestarter.
It's not a murder; it's an unsanctioned life termination.
It's a life struggle session.
I'm using the demolition man a euphemism for murder.
So any one of these, and you're a bit naughty. 2 of them, and you're a proper wrong 'un. But all three does not give you a payout.
Wait, what was the third one then? What was the third one? Setting fires, pissing yourself, and what?
And cruelty to animals.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
I mean, because that's usually you try a run for being a serial killer, isn't it?
So, what if someone wets themselves while setting fire to animals?
They're a proper wrong 'un. So Chase developed hypochondria as he matured. I don't know whether that's on the McDonald quad, but it should be.
Chased hypochondria.
No, Chase developed. Richard Chase.
Oh,
Chase developed.
Chased hypochondria.
Doctor, there's something wrong with my eyes. They're really roomy. I just, I keep rubbing them. It's almost as if I've got smoke inhalation or something.
So he often complained that his heart would occasionally stop beating, or that someone had stolen his pulmonary artery.
Hey, I need that artery. Bring it back.
He would also hold oranges on his head, believing vitamin C would be absorbed by his brain via diffusion.
I've heard the same
never done
people. I think there was a children's sitcom which was set in America, and it was they're in university, and one of them he's always asleep in every scene, and he's got a book half opened over his head because he was just going to absorb the knowledge via osmosis. Yeah. And I don't know
here's
what
the thing.
That thing was called.
Suppositories work, so why didn't he shove the orange up his arsehole?
Just imagine what trouble could have been avoided. Chase also believed his cranial bones had become separated and were moving around, so he shaved his head to be able to watch this activity.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chase.
You never done that, Hemmy. You never watched your cranial bones move around.
Oh,
It's totally.
Who hasn't?
You know.
Who hasn't, right?
Watch your dinosaur bones
pastime.
move about. Watch
Yeah.
your cranial bones move about. Put the boogie in your butt. Put the boogie in your butt.
Chase spent a brief time in a psychiatric ward in 1970. Do you remember those days where they didn't just leave him wandering around to be able to continue with it hijinks like this?
This is a thing. So,
Well, now
you
that-
know,
now on
apparently
national
Ronald
television.
Reagan closed down all the mental asylums. Who did that in our country? Was it Ronald Reagan?
No, it would have been Maggie Thatcher, wouldn't it?
I think the workhouses, they were called workhouses, but, you know.
Yeah, but there was a time when if you're a mental spacker, you couldn't just roam the streets like you can now.
True.
Yeah.
Or have a YouTube channel where you'd like check out like
You couldn't just go joining Just Stop Oil, could you?
No.
No.
This is all fun and games, but obviously it becomes not fun and games. In 1976, he involuntarily committed to a mental institution when he was taken to a hospital after injecting rabbit blood into his veins. Is he? He could have been the assistant to the what's it called, the black vomit sauna guy, couldn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's what.
He could have been an assistant to
Drove him
Jimmy
mad,
Savile if he was in England.
Staff nicknamed him Dracula because of his blood fixation. He broke the necks of 2 birds he caught through the institution window and drank their blood. He also extracted blood from therapy dogs with stolen syringes.
What?
He's told you, this guy's a fucking...
Oh, do you want to stroke the doggy, little Chase? Chase, stroke the doggy.
You just look after the dog. I'll just go out the room.
Yeah. Chase,
look after the dog. I'll be back in
doing?
5 minutes. Fucking.
Where did you get that syringe from, Chase? What are you doing?
Chase was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. You don't fucking say.
No, son.
These are some real experts that were dealing with him there, weren't they?
Ooh, excuse me.
After undergoing a battery of treatments involving psychotropic drugs, Chase was deemed no longer a danger to society. The man who was stealing blood from dogs and biting birds' heads off, absolutely fine, tip top, A1 mental state.
Well, he's not harm to himself or others, therefore he's no longer our concern.
Don't you think, on a serious note, don't you think that people who let people like that should be on like a court? I mean, what's the difference between this and having a dangerous building site? Like, surely you should be up for the same corporate manslaughter charge, shouldn't you?
No, it's weird that there's like certain rules where it gets exploited. And then there's other rules where you just think to yourself, like, well, someone's got to take responsibility. I mean, I could imagine the argument on their way. It's like, well, look, the human beings, you can't just keep them in prison indefinitely. It's like, well, yes, you can, especially if they're a threat to themselves and others.
Yeah.
But then, like, for example, here's a rule, right? I didn't know about this. Like, you know, many years ago in JGLE, coin-operated machine guns instead of telescopes on ferry piers.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out if a ship is sinking in international waters and you're in a position to rescue them, you're obliged to. And if you don't, and it's sort of like, well, it's in international waters, but a ship with your flag was on it and didn't rescue them, it's like, well, now you can't dock your ships in any dock in the world, because it's like, well, you won't help
But here's the thing,
sinking
Hobbit,
ships.
how would anyone know if it's sunk?
Because videos and mobile phones.
Yeah, but back in the day, how would anyone know if you just
but
a blind eye?
back in the day, you didn't have the issues which you got now. And I'm just saying, there's a certain thing that's like, you got to take responsibility, and it's like when it suits them, they'll take responsibility for it. You know, it's like, oh well, we understand people don't want to drive cars anymore because it's becoming more and more of a hassle to drive cars, so we're just going to ban car ownership. In this case, it's like, well, nobody said we want to keep this guy locked up because, he's clearly better now, so we're going to release him, and because it's not like car ownership. It's not something we can ban. So I'm saying that always assume the most malicious reason possible, and then you're probably halfway there to understanding it. If you just think like, what's the most malicious and wrong-headed way of doing this stuff, and then just go with that, and then you're probably close to the truth. Now, some would say that's a very cynical way of doing it. It's like, yeah, but it's also true. Also, I happen to have seen the thing about Ruby Ridge today, and I was reminded of that. So,
I watched the Waco series with what's his name on it, Taylor Kitsch.
I saw Bill Hicks covering Waco, and that was enough for me. And then I heard other people covering it. I was just like, yeah, I really don't like that stuff.
Anyway, where was I with Richard Trenton show?
Oh yeah, care in the community as opposed to care in the mental asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, all of these things you can see the underpinning ideas of it are probably sound, but the problem is they're never ever carried out correctly. There's not enough checks. Because I mean, let's be honest. The old mental asylums, they weren't great places, were they?
No, and well, there was that thing where the very walls get impregnated with mental energy because there's all the people suffering in there.
Mm. So yeah,
they are
we can all
buildings.
agree that they're not great places, but you've got to do something to keep these people off of the. You need more Broadmoors, basically, don't you?
Yeah.
Where they're done properly. So anyway, Chase was deemed to be no longer a danger to society, and later in 1976 he was released to his mother's custody. Job done, hands washed, sorted.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But don't go killing anyone now.
Yeah. Chase's mother, like any good mother, weaned him off his medication and got him into his own apartment. So he was released into his mother's custody. I know what I'll do. This mental cunt, I don't want him in my house, so I'll just farm him off to someone else. He initially shared the apartment with roommates before all of them moved out, leaving Chase on his own. Can you imagine the bullshit that was going on in that? Because she'd weaned him off his meds. So you've got a full-on paranoid schizophrenic living in a flat with you. Yeah, you're going to move out, aren't you?
Well,
why do you keep waking up with needle marks in your arm? You don't remember.
Why does the fire alarm keep chirping and like the sink is broken and the water's cut off? And sorry, I'm just describing Jackstar now.
Jackstar. Oh yeah, because
you don't understand. I am capable of looking after myself. I just choose not to because the trial and the vast grand conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Jackstar, because you're probably listening to this for the metal filings in your teeth. Go fuck yourself.
You're a big fan of Jackstar, aren't you?
I really like him. How everything's like not his fault. Yeah,
none of it is. He's communed with. He's been a mother to a spirit or something.
Yeah, sure.
Free spirit.
He's communed to the great petrol spirits.
So later investigation uncovered that in mid-1977, Chase was stopped and arrested on a reservation in the Pyramid Lake, Nevada area. His body, Pyramid Lake, is that anywhere near Nevada? Is that near Roswell at all?
Pyramid.
It sounds like
I know Groom
places,
Lake is Area 51, isn't it?
Yeah, Groom Lake. Yeah, that's Groom Lake.
Reno, Nevada? I don't know.
Reno.
We'll have a look.
That's the smallest little city, the biggest small city, the smallest little city. The thing about Reno is it's very small but big. It's a city. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It's a hamlet.
I'm quoting that from Fallout 2, where you walk into Reno and it says the smallest big city in the world.
Yeah.
Also, I found it interesting because it's like, oh look, you can do gambling here, but it's not Las Vegas.
That's
Because that came later.
I was watching Casino the other day, which is about the early days of the mob in Vegas. So later investigation.
Al Capone and what's his name? The guy from Goodfellas.
Yeah, it's mainly him. His body was smeared with blood, and a bucket of blood was found in his truck. The blood was determined to be a cow's blood, so no charges were filed. So that's absolutely okay. Even though animal cruelty is part of the McDonald fucking triad, no problem that you're smeared in blood and you've got a bucket of blood in your truck.
Yeah, it's fine. He isn't wetting himself, and
I got my freedom of speech.
Well, it's an open container of blood, officer, you see, and I slipped on the brakes, and that's why there's no blood on the dashboard, but there's blood all over me.
How do you know that cow didn't voluntarily give that blood, right? You can't prove anything.
My free speech.
I killed that cow in self-defense.
Yeah, it's like, where the fuck is the cow? Shouldn't that?
Well, if the
that
cow
at least,
consents.
Why do you think the roommates moved out? Like, he brought a cow home, didn't he? And
yeah. It's probably on his fucking
What if the cow
table.
consents, bigot?
Can't live here, Chase. You got that bloody cow.
Yeah, my free speech. So, onto his murders. On December 29th, 1977, Chase killed his first-known victim in a drive-by shooting. The victim, Ambrose Griffin, was a 51-year-old engineer and father of two. 2 weeks later, he attempted to enter the home of a woman, but because her doors were locked, he walked away. Chase later told detectives that he took locked doors as a sign he was not welcome, but unlocked doors were an invitation to come inside. On one occasion, he was caught and chased off by a couple returning home. As he pilfered their belongings, he'd also urinated and defecated on their infant child's bed and clothing.
So wait, he's like a scholarly jogger where he's just like, well, I wanted to see if the doors were locked.
Well, you left the doors open.
Is this guy Jack Star? Is he like, women are part of the conspiracy, I've got to throw them down the stairs?
I haven't heard Jack Star come out with that one.
He admitted that he abuses women because they're actually secretly vampires and part of the grand conspiracy.
Oh, okay then.
True.
Yeah.
On January the 23rd, 1978, Chase broke into a house and shot Teresa Warlin, 3 months pregnant at the time, 3 times. Well, there's a few threes there.
He shot that pregnant woman in self-defense.
Yeah, he's coming right for us. He then had sexual intercourse with her corpse while stabbing her with a butcher's knife.
Self-defense.
He then removed multiple organs, cut off one of her nipples and drank her blood. He stuffed dog feces from Warlin's yard down her throat before leaving.
Yep, still self-defense.
Remember, lads, not a danger to society. Not a danger to society.
But you've said mean words on the internet. Throw the book at them.
On January 27th, Chase entered the home of 30-year-old Evelyn Myroth. He encountered her friend Danny Meredith, who he shot with his .22 handgun. He then fatally shot Myroth, her 6-year-old son Jason, and her 22-month-old nephew David Ferreira. Before, blimey, can any two of these people in this house have the same surname, please? Before mutilating.
Why would you want that?
It's just all kinds of families.
Modern family, right there.
Yeah,
you won't have the same surnames, and you'll be happy.
Yeah. Before mutilating Myroth and engaging in necrophilia and cannibalism with her corpse, a visitor's knock on the door startled Chase, who fled in Meredith's car, taking Ferreira's body. So he took the baby's body with him.
You see, they describe it as necrophilia, but I don't think he had any love for the corpses.
No, I don't think it was love. I think it was, yeah.
Why couldn't they just call him a corpse botherer? Why do they have to use philia?
The visitor alerted a neighbour who called police. They discovered that Chase had left complete handprints and shoe imprints in Myroth's blood, so you can imagine how much fucking blood was there. Chase was arrested shortly afterwards. Police who searched Chase's apartment found the walls, floor, ceiling, refrigerator, and all of Chase's eating and drinking utensils were soaked in blood.
What, his apartment? Or their apartment?
His apartment.
What?
Yeah.
Well, no wonder the other guys fucking left. That's where the cow ended up, didn't it? Fucking all over the walls.
Cow exploded. Just put dynamite in the cow's ass or something?
Yeah.
Moo!
Fucking just filled it up. It's like when you're playing Worms, and
bitch,
is it Worms?
get out the way.
Is it Worms of exploding cows? The game Worms, if I remember. What had exploding cows? Was that Pigs of War?
It's probably more than
game?
one medieval game where you catapult a diseased cow over the walls.
No, I specifically remember a video game like having exploding cows in it. I can't remember what it is. It might have been Pigs of War, Hogs of War, or something on the PS1.
It could well be, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you played that and thought, "Oh, that's what I'll do."
In 1979, Chase stood trial on six counts of murder. In order to avoid the death penalty, the defence tried to have him found guilty of second-degree murder, because obviously he wasn't wholly fucking responsible for the murders. Jesus Christ.
Your Honour, my finger slipped 4 times on the trigger.
Whoops, it was an accident.
My Honour, I killed those babies in self-defence, and you can't prove otherwise.
Their case hinged on Chasey's history of mental illness and the suggestion that his crimes were not premeditated. Right, here's my 2 cents on this one. If you're killing people and you did it on purpose, then obviously death penalty. But if you're killing people and you have no control over it because you're mental and there's no way of fixing you, then obviously you then need the death penalty, don't you?
Yeah, because look, you've proven you're incapable of functioning in society. Yes. So just for your safety
and others,
and everyone else's.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put it like that, right? Yeah, but then there is, sanctity of life, right? If he's not.
Well, do you remember that line from Starship Troopers, the book, when they say when they're talking about mental illness and they say, well, surely if you were mental when you did this and then you're cured, you'd be so horrified by what you'd done, you'd want to commit suicide. I mean,
there's well, like for example, I think the easier way of explaining this is like you don't keep a rabid dog alive, do you? Because that's like it's suffering.
I mean, but like they say in that though, like if you were cured, you'd have the full you'd fully be able to realise what you'd done. Therefore, surely you wouldn't be able to live with yourself, would you, if you were cured of this? Having known what you've done.
There's just a certain point where it's just like, well, he's completely mental and there's nothing we can do. Well, pit bulls are great dogs, except occasionally when children... Yeah, nanny angel dogs, which occasionally, they just sort of spaz out when the children's laughing or a horse comes near them.
Don wants to know, have you covered the Colonel Sanders statue curse?
No.
I don't see that in the Rumble chat. And you guys on YouTube, you're wasting your time there. Get on Rumble. Go there now.
Lads. The death penalty is better than locking YouTube up forever. I mean, if you're going to go all libertarian about it, it's cost effective as well, isn't it?
I know, but I think there is the sanctity of life thing, like human life is not
what sanctity
but if you're taking lives, then you've stepped over that line. If the sanctity of life is that important,
but it's
and
not
somebody's taking lives, then as libertarians would say, like the government has the monopoly on violence.
But then this is a slippery slope argument, isn't it? Like, once you've done that to the murderers, then you said, well, these other people, they're a drain on resources, let's kill them as well. They may have mild disabilities, right?
I agree with you there, because you can do the Soviet thing of saying that you mildly disagree with the government policies. You have oppositional defiance disorder, and therefore we're going to put you into the mental hospital.
We'll put you on MAID. Like, if you've got a bad back, do you want to go on MAID?
Yeah. Best I can do is MAID.
Yeah.
But no, there's some people like that where you just go like, look. What benefit is there of keeping this person alive? And
but then again, it's always then it comes down to, well, what happens if they, this guy did have this bad break?
What if you gave them the option?
No, hold on. What if this guy had a bad break for 2 years and he was, and then he did get cured and he never hurt anyone else afterwards?
Well, this is what we're saying.
You're going to put an innocent man to, who did do something wrong or, didn't murder anyone at that point.
But this is what I'm saying. Surely, if he did have a bad break and he was cured of it, surely the full horror of realising what he'd done.
This was only to animals at the time. This was animals at the time, right? This wasn't people, right?
I think I've come up with a solution to this, lads, right? So you put them into the mental asylum, and you keep them alive. You give them like the tinned spaghetti or whatever prisoners have, like 3 meals a day. But you also give them the option, and just keep it in the cell, just right there. Give them the George Floyd special, Give them some fentanyl-laced bananas, and if they sort of decide, like, oh, you know what? I know if I eat that banana, I'm gonna be like, I can't breathe, but also it's gonna be pretty tasty. And it's not like the state's killing them. You're just giving them the option.
Yeah, because as I've said, surely if you were cured, you'd realise the full horror of what you've done to those people.
So if they're exercising free will and they have the George Floyd banana and they decide to exit peacefully, well, they've exercised free will because they saw the error of their ways. And if not, then you've got to keep them because they're not corpus mentis, and you keep them alive in reasonable health, like they do, but always just say, "Are you sure you won't have the fentanyl? It's quite tasty." You're not doing what like the Japanese do, where it's like 5 a.m. and you're frog marching a prisoner to the hanging gallows. You're just like saying, "No, we'll leave." It doesn't have to be banana even. It could just be like headache pills, and then you just put headache pills brackets for really bad headaches.
Fucking hell. How about this then? On May the 8th, 1979, the jury found Chase guilty of six counts of first-degree murder and rejecting the argument that he was not guilty by reason of insanity. Sentenced him to die in the gas chamber. His fellow inmates, aware of the extremely violent and grisly nature of Chase's crimes, feared him and, according to prison officials, often tried to persuade Chase to commit suicide.
Oh, wow.
So, in other words, they were doing exactly what I thought. Was like, come on, guy, you know what you've done.
Yeah.
Go on, take the yellow.
I think they were doing it out of fear for their own lives, not like out of some moral, like, morality.
Well, allegedly,
they were just
they
were
don't
scared that they were going to get fucking, blood sucked and murdered, like,
Well, allegedly,
they're going to have innards all over the walls, right?
Yeah. Well, allegedly, they don't like crimes towards women and children, so that might be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So to the ones which are traditionally associated with being defenceless because they're weaker and
yeah, and that's their job to be. You can't rob and mug them when they're dead, can you?
No.
Chase granted a series of interviews with Robert K. Ressler. Do you two know who Robert K. Ressler is?
No.
Nope.
He's one of the guys that set up the FBI's behavioural.
Oh, okay.
The behavioural whatever unit. I can't remember what it's called.
Fox Mulder, basically.
No. He's oh shit. Did you watch Mindhunter on Netflix? That's about Robert Ressler.
Right. Okay. No.
So you'll love this bit, Hobbit. This is fucking mint. I read this out of Fraser earlier. During which he spoke of his fears of Nazis and UFOs, claiming that although he had killed, it was not his fault and he'd been forced to kill to keep himself alive, which he believed any person would do. He asked Ressler
Understandable. Have a good day, Mr. Mental.
He asked Ressler to give him access to a radar gun with which he could apprehend the Nazi UFOs so the Nazis could stand trial for the murders. He also handed Ressler a large amount of macaroni and cheese which he'd been hoarded in his pants pockets, believing that prison officials were in league with the Nazis and attempted to kill him with poisoned food.
This guy sounds like Jack Star, and I bet he was just as insufferable to talk to. Like if you gave this Sacremento vampire a telegram, he'd just be writing novels on it every single day about how there's this vast conspiracy and he's just an innocent victim and that he murdered those babies in self-defense. Not that it's murder, because they're not babies.
On December
they're actually Nazi aliens from the Uranus. Yeah.
We do have a happy ending, because on December the 26th, 1980, Chase was found dead in his prison cell. An autopsy revealed that he killed himself with an overdose of prescribed medications.
Right. So, in other words, so what I'm suggesting is actually what happened. Like, I know that gets into a certain point where I still think, though, when someone's like, look, he clearly did it, and if the evidence is incontrovertible, like we saw him do it, he brags about doing it, and here's like one of the victims which managed to survive, or like multiple witness testimonies, surely you can just be like, yeah, firing squad. Look, there's no point keeping you around. And the guards are annoyed with your stories, Jack Star, about how all those women were mean to you, so you had to like not tidy up your kitchen and keep the fire alarm battery from being replaced because it's giving you secret coded messages about who the aliens are.
Good old Jack Star.
Just brackets Jack Star killer. No, actually, don't do that. Don't.
So I've got to put some meat in the bones because I found another site talking about it. So when Chase moved back in with his mother, he accused her of attempting to murder him by poisoning him. Chase's father purchased an apartment for him and forced him to move out of the house. Obviously, the logical father, like the mother, oh, I love him, I can change him, and the dad's like, no, you want to fuck him off is what you want to do.
So, yeah. Oh, it's just like with the women clearly incapable of looking after a pit bull, and there's like
Chase was a nanny kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a nanny angel, Chase.
So anyway, alone in his new apartment,
and it's not his fault those children are being mean and pulling on his tail.
Well, apparently he used to capture, kill, and disembowel various animals, which he'd then devour raw.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then he began to put the entrails of the animals he killed into a blender in order to make smoothies. He reasoned by drinking these smoothies, he was preventing his heart from shrinking. He feared that if it shrank too much, it would disappear, then he'd die. Because he also thought that his blood was turning to powder in his veins, and that's why he drank blood.
Right.
There's no point in keeping someone like this alive, and even he agreed with that, which is why he ended his own life.
Yeah. So a bit more from when he was institutionalized.
I'm going to get annoyed at the end of this this one. I can tell.
Yeah, well, you always do with the true crime, don't you? Especially Gemma Collins Stagg.
I remember Dennis Nielsen, especially.
Gemma Collins Stagg, where he got set up by that undercover copper. Do you remember that? That was, and then she went on the sick because of the stress of stitching that bloke up.
I heard a story like this, and I'm not sure if it's true, and I want to say no, that can't be true, right? So apparently there was an environmentalist action group in this country, and so what they did, MI5 infiltrate it, marry one of the members.
Oh, and he has two kids with her.
Yeah, and then get arrested.
Yeah.
So it's like you've married, and at one point I'm thinking to myself, like, are you a complete psychopath? Like, is the marriage just like, joke's on you, I was only pretending to be in love with you and have a family with you.
Yeah. So while he was institutionalized, he often shared with the staff fantasies about killing rabbits. You know, this is Richard safe and effective to go out into society, Trenton. Chase.
Can I just say that this is like the people that run these facilities, they are psychopaths as well. So they're like, yeah, we know he's really annoying to the staff with his constant, incessant talk about the conspiracy of how the smoke alarms you see with the chirps are actually CIA mind control beams. But we're going to keep him around because we think it's funny.
Yeah. And so what else?
Or not even they think it's funny, that they're just going to keep him around because we're going to study him for science.
So this is more of Mr. Safe to go out in the community. His parents put him up in an apartment. So this is after he came out, where he began to capture, torture to death, and then drink the blood of rabbits, dogs, cats. On occasion, he killed and ate neighbours' pets, and at least once contacted the neighbour by telephone to explain what he'd done. At the same time, he developed.
There's a group of people which torture and exsanguinate animals prior to eating them, and they call it purification through pain.
Yeah.
I know in their language it sounds more like, but it like the official like translated into English term is purification through pain.
At the same time, he developed a fascination for firearms and purchased several handguns. Obviously, safe and effective. Safe to be out in society. Let's let him buy some handguns.
Look,
why not?
I don't want to be that guy with the weapon of war's fully semi-automatic clipazines with your AK-15 or whatever, but. Maybe there should be a case of, you're mental, aren't you? I'm not selling you a gun.
Maybe not a good idea.
Yeah.
So he became fascinated.
I'm not selling you a spoon, yet alone a gun.
Again, not another red flag, but he became fascinated by the crimes of the Hillside Strangler. He believed the Strangler was also the victim of the Nazi UFO conspiracy that he believed he was the victim of.
Right.
Just a brief aside, have you ever heard of something called the God Hand Murderer?
No.
No.
Oh, I think it's probably fictitious then, but imagine like a murderer who's like convinced there's demons amongst us, kidnaps them and then puts his hand on them, and then when he does, he can get like read their sins, and it's like, well, I've seen what you've done, now I'm going to kill you.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So Chase also began to lose interest in caring for himself. He neglected personal hygiene, such as bathing, grooming, and brushing his teeth. He stopped eating and dropped to the fairly meagre weight of 145 pounds. Was he eating a lot of eggs and meatballs? Was he?
Look, he's cutting for his kickboxing. He's cutting for his kickboxing rabbits tournament.
Yeah. Apparently, he also smelled like gone off milk as well. Apparently.
Oh.
Is that what happens when you like go keto?
I think there's a couple of serial killers that smell like gone off milk. I know Chase is.
But didn't we establish this with Dennis Nielsen? Like psychopaths have no sense of smell.
Oh, I think you said that. They can't do, can they? Because that Nielsen's apartment.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, can you imagine like you open that front door and it's like woof, BO and barbecue as they said in Predator 2.
That is not a good combo.
Yeah. One day in 1977, Chase rang his mother's doorbell and greeted her by thrusting a dead cat in her face. He then threw the cat to the ground.
I got you a present.
He then threw the cat to the ground, knelt down and ripped his stomach open with his bare hands, stuck his hands inside the cat, smearing its blood all over his face while screaming. Oh. His mother calmly returned inside the house and did not report the incident to anyone. Shouldn't she be up on a fucking charge? She got him back. She took his drugs off him.
Clearly a wrong-un.
Absolute fucking wrong-un. I know better.
Why did he shove his hands inside the cat and like smear himself with his blood?
Because he's got this obsession with blood. He's just gone.
Yeah, but in front of his mother on her doorstep. Like,
and she did nothing. She did nothing. Not a damn. Oh, he's my boy. He's my boy. What are you gonna do?
Oh,
look, you're probably saying there must be a rational explanation for this, but it's like saying, so people have been kicked out of your kitchen like 5-10 years ago or whatever, and you refuse to clean and tidy anything up. Anyway, you can't because the water's been cut off because it's a government conspiracy or something. So that's why you're in your truck now. And you're eating Pringles and yogurt instead of like boiling up some water to have pot noodle or something because you don't have access to water. It's just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just complete insanity. And you will go ill if you try to understand any of this stuff that Jack Star does. Sorry, the Sacremento Killer.
So. Some more meat on the bones of the bucket.
Oh, he annoys me, that part. He really does.
He is Fortean. He is Fortean, though. You got to give him that.
He is Fortean, and when he's dead, which will probably be not too soon, we'll be able to cover him, right? Because you can't cover them all. No, we did cover Neurosoup, and she's still alive. Fuck that bitch.
So some more meat on the bones of the cow's blood incident, and you know, you can absolutely see why he was still out at this point. And Nevada State Police discovered Chase's Ford Ranchero lodged in a sand drift near Pyramid Lake, Nevada. Inside were two
Ranchero
rifles.
Relaxo?
Inside were two rifles, a pile of clothes, a bucket full of blood, and a cow's liver. Officers tracked down Chase, who was naked and screaming in the sand, soaked from head to toe in blood. When questioned, he claimed the blood was his own. It had leaked out of him through his flesh. But obviously, still outside.
Sprung a leak, yeah.
But obviously, you know, he's just a bit eccentric.
Yeah.
LOL, the care in the community.
Yeah, man.
On December the 27th, 1977, Chase fired a .22 handgun into the home of a Sacremento woman. The police searched the woman's
that'll
phone.
teach you for being alive.
Found the slug in her kitchen and no one was harmed. Oh, well, no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is there like some sort of like... Is this topsy-turvy world? Like, is he like the opposite Carl Rittenhouse or something?
The opposite Carl Rittenhouse.
We're going to just let this guy carry on with doing whatever the fuck he wants.
On January the 11th, 1978, Chase asked his neighbour for a cigarette, then forcibly restrained her until she gave him an entire pack. Like, why is this bloke still about? I think a lot of these serial killers, they do like a societal shit test, don't they? Because there's that Scottish killer, I can't remember his name, Angus something. And he was one of these, he'd just done so much fucking crime and got away with it that he just went on. I think he just went on to murder because he didn't think he'd ever get arrested because he wasn't getting arrested for the other stuff.
Mm.
At a certain point, you just have to say, look, these people won't stop until you stop them. And there's no, like, you give them second or the 30th chance, and it's like, you're not doing anybody any favours by doing that.
Yeah.
You really aren't.
No tears, please. It is a waste of good suffering.
Hey, I recognise that line.
There he is.
Dom, are you a big fan of the Sacramento Vampire?
Well, no. I only
don't know him
sucked cock
personally.
a couple of times. No, I mean, yeah, no. I know what you're saying about serial killers. It's the hubris that gets them in the end. They become more they get more belief in their own ability to get away with things and to outwit the law, and that's what gets them in the end.
It's like what's his name, Dennis Nielsen, like Hobbit's favourite serial killer. He did all the stuff in the downstairs, and you know what I'll do? I'll move to a top floor flat and carry on murdering because, LOL, I can just chop them up and flush them down the toilet because that works.
Oh, I think someone's having KFC. That's why there's like human femurs in the drain.
Speaking of which, I'll have my KFC story when you finish with this one.
So then we know about that one. So the next one is the shitting on the bed.
Oh, what? Wait, what? We missed
Is
that.
he Amber Heard?
I told you. So 2 weeks later, he attempted to enter the home of another woman, but finding her door, that's the locked doors. He went down the street where he broke into the home of a young married couple, stole some of their valuables, urinated into a drawer of their infant's clothing, and defecated on the son's bed. Do you remember that? Do you remember I said that?
Is he the reincarnation of Amber Heard?
Well, he can't be, can he? Because he did it first. Is she
he did it first.
Is she the reincarnation of Chase? Is the question.
Yeah, weird. Creepy. Nasty. I don't like her and I don't like him.
Maybe that's where she got the idea from. She read this.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'll get him. Like,
I'm going to shit in this bed and bathe in rabbit's blood. If it's good enough for Cleopatra, it's good enough for me. But Cleopatra never bathed in rabbit's blood.
Do you want a more extensive description of what happened in the third murder?
Oh boy, do I!
So
let's pretend I'm a 30-something woman, okay? So I'm just having my coffee.
Oh, in the meantime, before this happened, on January the 23rd, 1978, 2 days after killing Teresa Warlin, obviously still out, still safe and effective, Chase purchased 2 puppies from a neighbour, which he then killed and drank the blood of, leaving the bodies on the neighbour's front lawn.
And the neighbours are just like, oh yeah, it's the notorious.
It's just Richard. He's a bit eccentric
Yeah.
Look, all the animals around him and children and women and adults die.
Just everybody
right?
in his immediate vicinity need arresting. Is that what needs to happen?
I mean, hold on. This was Sacremento. I mean, not many nice things come out of that place. So, a dead dog on the lawn might not be the weirdest thing they've seen out there, right?
It just, sometimes I think, like, especially after the Ruby Ridge thing, maybe the devil does run the United States. It is the Great Satan.
Uh-huh.
Are you saying the Ardseller was right?
I'm just saying that there's a lot of evil that takes place in the United States, and I think it's disproportionate. Like, I mean, I know there's evil that comes here, especially when it comes to children and incurable diseases, and, well, not incurable diseases, that's the controversy, isn't there? It's like, oh, your disease can be cured, but it's difficult. Well, we're not going to let you travel with your child to somewhere else. That's
you mean the latest forced death of a child? No, we're the NHS, and we want this. We want to kill this child.
The worst thing about it is the child kidnapper is one who's been officially reprimanded by Child Protective Services for, like, look, you keep separating children from families, and the mother's killed herself because, like, the child's in pain, and it's just like, yeah, these psychopaths are allowed to continue their job because it's like, I'm doing important work. I'm doing God's work.
Yeah, but is how do you define that? Is the evil the psychopaths, or the lack of people around them to report it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's some real problems with Chase's fucking neighbours. Like,
I think
when someone comes to you and go, LOL, I've killed your fucking pet. Like, shouldn't somebody be informed?
It's like, time to give you another dog,
or is that just
man?
like, don't tread on me, my government?
There's the saying that comes to mind: all that evil needs to triumph is for the good men to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, so basically you're saying the good men do nothing because all they're concerned about is their own.
I think good men do nothing because if you try and do something, you get arrested for it.
Yeah, they just want their own equilibrium, their own desire to earn money, and so basically, what I'm saying, you're a communist.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me, my government, etc., etc. So, right, I don't know why Wikipedia just completely glosses over these murders because they're pretty fucking bad. On January the 27th, Chase committed his final murder, which also qualifies as a mass murder. He entered the home of 38-year-old Evelyn Myroth, who was babysitting her 22-month-old nephew, David. Also present in the home was Evelyn's 6-year-old son, Jason. Dan Meredith, a neighbour who would come over to check on Evelyn. I don't know whether that's wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I've just come around to check on her.
So Chase went into the house with all these children present out of self-defence.
Well, they'd left the door open, so obviously, that's
an invitation for him to come in.
Yeah. Evelyn was in the bath while Dan watched the children. He went into the front hallway when Chase entered the home and was shot in the head at point blank range with Chase's .22 handgun, killing him.
Chase's explanation: look, if you didn't want to be murdered, then why are you full of delicious blood?
You wouldn't have. Yeah. You wouldn't leave the door unlocked while standing there full of blood.
Yeah, exactly. Delicious blood.
Yeah.
Clearly not a professional. You wouldn't use a 22.
Well, it's effective.
Actually, the CIA did it is safe and effective, the 22.
I assume it makes less noise as well, doesn't it, being a smaller round?
The CIA were apparently quite fond of using silenced .22 pistols in the Cold War era, because they just, I suppose, easy to conceal and carry and stuff.
Right, so...
I'm saying people often survive wounds from 22 rounds.
Not when it goes through your eye. I don't.
No.
The skull.
Clearly, yeah.
Chase then turned the court. Obviously, Chase also isn't incomplete. Chase isn't a man who considers options, I'll put it that way. Chase then turned the corpse over and stole Dan's wallet and car keys. Jason ran to his mother's bedroom where Chase fatally shot him twice in the head at point blank range. On the way to killing Jason, Chase also shot David in the head. So David is... So 6-year-old's Jason. David must be the baby then. Yeah, so David's the baby. So he shot the kid and the baby. Chase then entered the bathroom, fatally shot Evelyn once in the head. He dragged her. To be fair, he's got. Are you sure he didn't work for the CIA, Hobbit?
I mean,
I'm starting to wonder.
Right?
He's pretty effective with the 2-2, isn't he? I wonder what Evelyn was complaining about. Did Evelyn have information that led to the arrest and imprisonment of Hillary Clinton?
I'll never know.
Yeah. He dragged her corpse onto the bed where he simultaneously sodomized it and drank its blood from a series of slices to the back of the neck.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, medical examiners reported an inordinate amount of semen in the corpse's rectum, indicating an unusual amount of ejaculations.
Unusual?
An unusual amount of ejaculation.
Hey, this is an unusual amount of ejaculation into a corpse. Yeah, this is more than what I usually see.
Oh my God, what?
When
surely the police traced him for like testosterone like treatments or something.
When Chase finished, he stabbed her at least half a dozen times in the anus, the knife penetrating her uterus. He stabbed her in a series of vital points on the body, which caused blood from her internal organs to pool into her abdomen, which he then sliced open and drained into a bucket. So he had like some half idea of anatomy then, didn't he?
I guess you stab enough animals, you get a working knowledge of anatomy.
I suppose you
He's
do.
just wondering why she didn't have 4 stomachs, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he then consumed all of the blood. Chase then went to retrieve David's corpse. He took it to the bathroom and split its skull open in the bathtub and consumed some of the brain matter.
Dude.
I think this is why Wikipedia kind of gloss over this.
Hey, speaking of which, what's that? We did an episode on another murderer that's a gay icon. I just can't remember for the life of remember the name of him.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I'll have. Next time Vincent Brenner messaged me, I'll just ask him what his thing on gay icon Jeffrey Dahmer is.
So outside, a 6-year-old girl with whom Jason Myroth had a play date knocked on the door, startling Chase. He fled the residence, stealing Dan Meredith's car. The girl, scared off by a 6-year-old girl. You can tell this bloke is in the full ticket, can't you? The neighbour broke into the Myroth home where he discovered... Oh, God, can you imagine being the guy that fucking kicks that door in and discovers all that?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so then he took...
fucking works.
David... I'm a bit... Close your ears. Chase, meanwhile, took David's corpse home, that's the baby, with him, where he chopped off its penis and used it as a straw through which he sucked the blood out of the body.
What the fuck?
Oh. I mean,
I was wrong about keeping people like this alive. That's it.
He then sliced the corpse open and consumed several internal organs and made smoothies out of others, finally disposing of the corpse at a nearby church.
A nearby church?
Yeah, that's where he got rid of the body.
In times when we had a more healthy society, you'd be like, look, what you've done, we can't comprehend it. There's no way we can judge you. The only creature capable of judging you is God. So we're going to send you to God.
Yeah.
That's the Christian thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe the doctor just gave him the wrong prescription.
Well, no, it was his mum. You know, why isn't his fucking mum up on a charge I mean, there should be some sort of like, she's interfering with medication that keeps this bloke.
They get away with it, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need that medication, son. Oh, thanks for bringing me a disemboweled rabbit. Can you go and kill some babies now? I'd love their blood.
You're perfectly fine as you are, my little angel.
You're perfect. That's where you get the women sort of thing of you're stunning, brave, and valid just the way you are. You're perfect. You don't need to change or better yourself or stop the murders.
Yeah. So
basically, big pharma and money equals serial killers.
Big Pharma. Well, this is the one time where Big Pharma was doing good. So
you
then,
basically need a chemical kosh on these people.
He should be, if you ain't going to kill him, he should be drooling in a fucking chair for the rest of his days, shouldn't he?
I'm just saying, he wouldn't be able to do this stuff if he's a dribbler.
Lobotomized, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, don't get me started on lobotomy. I mean, talk about unnecessary. What is it with America doing unnecessary medical procedures? They seem to have a hard-on and fixation for here's it. But in America, surgery's done for profit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're always looking for you don't really need those tits, do you? You don't need those testicles. You don't need that foreskin. No. You don't need those toes.
Frontal lobe, yeah.
Yeah. Look, we can whip it out. It only cost you $8,000. I'm cheap.
Using that frontal lobe.
You won't even remember it. You won't even remember you paying for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
it's a procedure.
I think you would if you get your tips whipped off.
I know, but if you had your frontal lobe lobotomized,
procedure of tenureship. Once you're
you're breaking up there, mate.
Once you're a tenured professor, do what you want and you'll be paid for it.
Yeah, shark science. Shark science galore.
Yeah.
Yes, shark science.
Well.
So they compiled a profile of him. They determined that the killer would be tall, malnourished, loner, physically unclean. That most importantly, he continued to kill. You reckon, do you? Well, these people really are experts, aren't
Here's
they?
the thing. Well, here's the weird thing, right? There was like a 2-week period where nothing happened before he went to that woman's house, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't all the time. It was only
shit. So what are the incidents?
Yeah, but where was he and what was he doing at the time?
It's almost like a spree, though, isn't it? So
yeah.
December the 27th, he fires the handgun. December 29th, killed his first victim. January the 11th, he asked his neighbour for a cigarette and restrained her until she gave him an entire pack. 2 weeks later, he attempted to enter the home of another woman, and then he went down the street and shit on the kid's bed. There's about a week or so where he didn't do anything. I should imagine that he did something. So there's a gap between the 11th and the 23rd where he wasn't doing a lot.
I haven't looked at any because I don't want to look at pictures of this guy. I know you put one on Rumble, but every time you're describing these heinous acts, I keep thinking of for some reason I keep seeing Jack Starr's face. I don't know why. I just like when I look at that stuff, I could just be like, that guy looks like that fits the bill for someone that shit on the child's bed.
So finally, the FBI, the brilliant FBI,
I'm not saying
5 days after the mass murder. 5 days after, Nancy Holden, I think he's one of the neighbours, contacted police saying she believed Richard Chase could be the killer. This guy that goes around murdering pets and throwing fucking dead dogs on lawns, he might be. He might be the killer.
Look, this guy that's clearly a fucking wrong-un in every single way, shape and form, bathes in the blood of children and animals and uses a baby's penis as a straw. I think he might be a murderer. I'm not sure. I don't want to do your job, Mr. FBI officer, sir, but I think he might be.
Oh, fucking hell. So when they arrested him, he left his apartment carrying a blood-stained box. His parka and shoes were likewise blood-stained. The dude's walking around covered in fucking blood, and they're going, "Oh, I think it might be your guy." So inside the box,
do you have any credentials? No, you don't. Then leave it to the experts. We don't appreciate that sort of speculation here at the FBI.
Chase claimed the bloody wallpaper. So he had bloody wallpaper and gun inside this bloodstained box. He said they were result of killing several dogs, which is obviously okay. You can kill as many dogs as you like in America.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Richard Trenton Chase, the Sacremento vampire.
Look, if you're interested in dog killing as a career, then maybe the ATF is for you.
When the police performed a search of Chase's person, they found he was carrying Dan Meredith's wallet. Here's some more grim shit. So they obviously went into his apartment. They found the walls, floor, ceiling, refrigerator, all of Chase's eating and drinking utensils soaked in blood. On the counter was the
windows,
blender.
to the walls, to the sweat drips down my balls.
To make his smoothies. It was caked in coagulated blood and the rotting matter of internal organs. Inside the refrigerator, police found several animal body parts wrapped in aluminium foil, David's brains in a Tupperware container, and pieces of his body wrapped in saran wrap, which is cling film to normal people. There's several of Evelyn Meeroth and Teresa Wallin's internal organs. On another counter were several pet collars. On his kitchen table, he'd spread out numerous diagrams depicting various aspects of human biology. Oh, he's writing his own book.
Yeah.
He's writing his own book, by the way.
A novel of like, I'm going to prove to the courts how mental I am, and then they'll be sorry. I'm going to do this by leaving like loads of Telegram transcripts in the room.
So, on December 26th, 1980, as I said before, a guard doing his cell checks found Chase lying awkwardly on his bed, not breathing. An autopsy determined that Chase had committed suicide with an overdose of prison doctor prescribed antidepressants, which had been saving up for the last few weeks.
I'm depressed. I am. What of not being able to murder babies anymore?
Yeah. So what else though? So there's a bit of psychology stuff here. So he's what you call a disorganized killer. I'm sure you'd already guessed this.
I imagine a death from antidepressants is not a nice way to go.
Yeah. What would that do to you? That'd be liver failure, wouldn't it?
No, I think your brain goes mental.
Oh,
like more mental than what it is with this
mental,
guy.
So what happens to it?
Turned normal. He had a lucid moment.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like it's probably. I think I remember this with cows. Actually, it's called serotonin syndrome, where you get overloaded in neurotransmitter, and I think it leads to a stroke or something.
Okay.
So yeah, it's sad.
So he had like a moment of clarity and then died.
No. Oh well, no. I think it was more a case of just like, I'm bored here because they're not doing the trial, which is going to exonerate me of all these things. You see, and how I'm the victim, and it was just the babies which were taunting me.
The Nazis had won, right? They captured them.
It's those evil
UFOs
babies.
Got them. Yeah.
Because I was abused, you see. So.
Is this like what the prison was?
That's half a point from Dom there.
I mean, I think.
And comes back just as he finishes his point. Run that through us again, would you?
Yeah. Oh no, he's gone.
He'll be back.
Completely.
He'll be back. He's probably turned it off and on again. So this is just fucking crazy. This is the thing that you find with most of these serial killers. They start off doing petty shit, and then they just up the ante all the time, don't they?
I mean, petty. What's that? Killing a few cats is petty now. That's to me. That's
but isn't the system to be about how it's to internalize the maybe internalize it. So he like internalize.
Something about internalising, Don.
Like, I'm here.
You're half here, Don.
You're here in spirit, if not in body.
Yeah.
Oh, I still.
Well, anyway, so as I was saying about like petty stuff, the petty stuff seems to be obviously like breaking into people's homes and doing silly shit.
Hang on.
Yeah, we're hanging on.
Yeah.
We're holding out for a Dom
Living on a
tonight.
prayer. Yeah.
He's going to say a point, he's going to get through it, and it's going to
Yeah.
happen without interruption.
See you
Holding
in
out
3
for a
hours
hero.
when Dom makes his point.
Do.
Cue yellow
Hello.
music.
Yeah,
Hello.
I'll take it you don't want any more in-depth crime scene descriptions, I bet.
Oh, no.
Anything?
No, we've. Yeah, I can. Well, you broke up when you say, can you hear me now? Unfortunately. No, come on. Let's cater to the women that listen to Fortean words. Let's have the gruesome depictions of how he dismembered a baby and like sucked its blood through one of its organs. Let's do that.
So, apparently he found the door at the Walling home unlocked. I think this is his first number. He encountered Teresa Walling, 22 and 3 months pregnant. Before entering, Chase deposited a .22 caliber bullet in the mailbox. He really is fucking crackers, isn't he?
Yeah.
He opened the door and ran into Terry as she was standing. Yeah, we can hear you, Dom.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
That's
Carry
a
on,
lot better.
carry on. Oh, does it? Can I finish my point?
Go on then.
Go for it.
What you probably could do is starting your point.
It was,
Dom.
Yeah, it was basically the idea of prison is to people to internalize their thoughts, right? And realize everything to become a better person for society. Yet he did that and committed suicide. So was like the prison doing its work? That was my point.
Okay, fair enough. I think it kind of goes back to the Starship Troopers point, isn't it? Like, if you contemplate, if they truly contemplate and they truly are cured, then they'd realise that they're not the sort of person that should be walking God's green earth, are they?
There's at certain points where it's like what you've done is just like, mate.
Yeah.
You know, like the Steve Khan's. Yeah, mate. Look, if your friend is like disemboweling pets and doing it whilst pointing towards Mecca, you need to say, mate. To them.
Can you just not?
Mate, yeah. It might not be a crime to disembowel a sheep whilst pointing towards Mecca, but just say mate to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where was I? The Walling home.
Sorry to interrupt your flow.
That's all right, mate. So he opened the door and ran into Terry as she was taking out the garbage. She dropped the bag as he raised his pistol and shot her twice. One bullet entered her palm, held up defensively, and travelled up her arm to exit out of her elbow and nick her neck. The other went through the top part of her skull. She fell, and then Chase knelt over her prostrate body, firing another bullet into her temple. His next move was to drag her into the bedroom, leaving a trail of blood behind.
That'll teach you for trying to be alive.
Yeah. How dare you be standing there full of blood? He then retrieved a knife from the kitchen and an empty yogurt container from the trash bag that Terry had been carrying. Her sweater was pulled up over her breasts and her pants and underwear down her ankles. Her knees were splayed open in the position of a sexual assault. Her left nipple was carved off, her torso cut open below the sternum, and her spleen and intestines pulled out. Chase had stabbed her repeatedly in the lung, liver, diaphragm and left breast. He'd also cut out her kidneys and severed her pancreas in two. He placed the kidneys together back inside her.
What a guy.
Where did he put them up inside her? Did he put them around the sides or up at the top where they should be?
And
it's a shame Chase ain't still alive. We could settle the kidney thing once and for all.
Yeah.
No judgments, Chase. We just want to know why.
Where were the kidneys?
Yeah, we just want to know where are the kidneys. There was blood in the bathroom, and it was later learned that Chase had smeared Terry's blood all over his face and hands, licking it off his fingers. The discarded yogurt container near her body was also blood-stained, as if he'd used it to drink her blood. His most heinous act, however, was to stuff animal feces into her mouth. There were odd rings of blood around the body, as if someone had placed a bucket there. Well, it's not someone, is it?
The most heinous thing is you've put animal poo into a corpse.
Yeah.
As opposed to the unusual amount of semen found in a corpse.
Yeah, unusual amount of semen. So the
This is more than the usual amount of semen found in a corpse.
What is the usual amount of semen?
Oh, I don't know. It's less than 10 cc though, isn't it?
The loving spoonful.
It's a teaspoon's worth. Yeah.
So when you die, right? If you're a woman, is there a certain amount of like semen you have in you when you die? Is it
like all the semen you've retained in your life just like comes out? Is that it?
I think what they're saying though is that like you was capable of multiple orgasms. Like
what is like the usual amount of semen to be found inside a baby's corpse?
They say some fucking weird shit, don't they? That's a
don't
rhetorical
want the
question. We
answer.
do not want an answer to that one.
No, I'm sorry.
Danny Meredith lay in the hallway in a pool of blood. The deputy who checked him saw a gunshot wound on his head and then saw blood in the bathroom and what looked like bloody water in the tub. He then found Evelyn lying naked on the bed in her bedroom, her legs splayed open. She had a gunshot wound to the head and her abdomen had been cut open and her intestines pulled out. 2 carving knives stained red laid nearby. It appeared she'd been taking a bath when surprised by a killer, dragged to the bed, sodomised her, stabbed her through the anus into her uterus at least 6 times, made several slices across her neck and tried to cut out an eye. Bloody ringlets on the carpet indicated that he once again used some kind of container to collect blood. He stabbed several internal organs as well, which the coroner later noted would facilitate getting blood in the abdomen.
You know, up until tonight, I never knew who this guy was, and now I'm really grateful.
I know you wish you
this,
never had. You wish you could go back to yesterday. Inside
So
Evelyn's
shark
rectum
science,
was a
eh?
large amount of semen.
Oh, was there? Was it an unusual amount? Was it just a large
Well,
amount?
it's a large amount. It says later on.
Oh, well, that's all right then. If it was an unusual amount, that would be cause for concern.
So the boy, it appears, he just shot him twice and shot him twice.
Boy.
Aren't serial killers amazing?
Aren't serial killers amazing?
And then you always want to ask, like, is it a large amount of semen or an unusual amount of semen in your rectum? Brilliant!
Because words mean things, right? And when you say unusual, it kind of provides a standard for, a certain amount, right? You can have less than that is it's okay, right?
So the kid that scared him off, she was so they located an 11-year-old girl in the neighbourhood who described a man near the victims. The residents around 11 o'clock. She described him in his early 20s. He fit the description of a man seen repeatedly in that area, walking around asking people for magazines.
You got a big issue, mate.
Scooby-Doo, big issue.
Well, the slugs say to the snail.
Wait, we're talking about magazines or like actual ammo magazines? That could be a distinction here, like, for Americana.
Oh, is that a different thing?
I always remember the Alexei Sale joke, which to me is funny, but no one else is nonplussed. It's like he goes into this news agent and he says, these days you've got magazines that cater to all sorts of interests. You even got magazines for guns, and he picks up like this magazine and puts it into an Uzi. See, I thought it was a clever joke because you talk about magazines, the publications, magazines, the store of ammo.
Very clever.
We like to see him swear on their TV.
Sorry. What else we got here? I don't think we need to. So the girl. So basically, it was one. He's just completely no fucks given, isn't he?
Yeah, because it's like, well, no one else cares about what I'm doing.
Ooh,
Time to do something more
What
heinous.
its flat smelt like. What they found in the putrid-smelling place was disgusting. Nearly
my God.
everything was blood-stained, including food and drinking glasses. In the kitchen, they found several small pieces of bone and some dishes in the refrigerator with body parts. One container held a human brain tissue. An electric blender was badly stained and smelled of rot. There were 3 pet collars, but no animals to be found. Photographic overlays on human organs from a science book laid on a table, along with newspapers on which ads selling dogs were circled. A calendar showed the inscription "Today" on the dates of Wallin and Myroth murders, and chillingly the same word was written on 44 more dates yet to come during that year.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a guy.
What a fucking guy. But clearly everybody just needs arresting to do with this case. The people who let him out in the community need arresting. His mum needs arresting. His dad might get a pass because at least he knew to fucking keep him out of his own house. But fuck it, his dad as well. Let's arrest him. Let's arrest all the fucking neighbours that turned a blind eye to it. Let's just arrest everybody.
I mean, we never really find out how or why he became like this, right? It's just, it's,
seriously faulty wiring, Fraser, I think.
I mean, well, yeah.
So
look, some people, they are of the devil, and there's there's no hope for them.
Could this be, I don't know, possession? Doesn't seem like it, but then again,
he doesn't seem to be doing any rituals, does he? Other than putting the baby in a churchyard.
Yeah, there's no like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Why does it need to be a ritualistic kill? Why can't it just be like he's killing for killing's sake?
Well, I suppose if you're putting like a dead baby body that you've mutilated, I suppose that's is he trying to defile the church?
You tell me.
So anyway, the trial now. The defence entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. But so top
defence can do that, but is that like a technical term? Because like, if this is why I wouldn't be a good lawyer, right? But a part of me would just be like, look, he clearly done it. We know he done it, but we're going to say he's not guilty on the technicality of he's insane. And then, like, if I was the judge, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, so he's not clearly sane, so mental institution for life.
All his dogs aren't barking on one leash, as the Yanks would say, are they?
That's it.
So
is your Hemi, is your analysis of the inspired the song "Get Myself Arrested" by Gomez?
Fucking hell, that's a deep pull, decent tune that is though. But so the prosecution was determined to show that he knew the difference between right and wrong, and he was not compelled to murder. Part of his strategy included boning up on the legends of Dracula. He also read about blood-related crimes and blood rituals in various cultures, noting that some people believed that ingesting another person's blood would strengthen or heal them. He wanted to show that while this might be a belief, it was not a viable reason for murder. A change of venue was requested given the local notoriety of the case, and the trial was moved 120 miles south to Santa Clara County, which reminds me of isn't Santa Clara where Lost Boys is set? That's Santa Clara, isn't it? The town in that.
Is it?
No, it's Carla.
Oh, Santa Carla. Oh, right. So so it's a play on Santa Clara. Must be a play on that then, mustn't it? Oh. By the time it was all over, a dozen psychiatrists had examined Chase. He admitted to one that he was disturbed about killing his victims, and he was afraid they might come for him from the dead. There was no evidence in his admissions that he'd ever felt compelled. He simply thought the blood was therapeutic.
Hold on. If he didn't kill them, they couldn't come from when they were dead, right?
That's a fucking shit excuse, right?
Yeah.
All the blood's therapeutic. Right, so why didn't you work at a blood bank then?
Yeah. One
No, you don't understand.
Well, I don't know. I don't think your average blood bank will take you if you don't have any qualifications and you smell a gone off milk.
But there's also that thing of like saying, look, I had to put an unusual amount of semen in that baby's anus. That's part of the therapeutic blood.
Not the baby.
The woman.
The woman, the baby, you know, I heard saying about babies and using the penis to suck blood out and then an unusual amount of semen, and I don't know.
One psychiatrist...
Forgive me for...
How about this for a diagnosis then, Hobbit? One psychiatrist found him to be an antisocial personality, not at all schizophrenic.
Oh, well, yeah, that's good.
No shit.
I'm glad to see your 12 years of credentialism have given this valuable insight into the antisocial personality of this wrong.
Just didn't like people, mate. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not misogynistic. He's just not a people person.
Look, this pit bull is just not good around children.
Yeah.
Or adults. Or horses.
Or dogs.
Or
Dogs or cats.
Yeah.
Rabbits.
Or birds.
Rabbits.
Yeah, if you keep the dog in a concrete box, it's good then. But it doesn't like concrete.
His thought processes were not disrupted, and he was aware of what he'd done and that it was wrong.
So knows he's a wrong and does it anyway.
So are they saying that he was completely bullshitting about the Nazi UFOs coming to kill him then?
Is it like a lot of these other schizos where they just make up any sort of story in the hope someone will listen to them?
Not even schizos. I think perfectly sane people that make up bullshit stories to pretend that they're schizos.
Oh, I hadn't considered that part.
I know a schizo, not personally, through my mum. She used to work in a care home, and she talked to this guy, and she basically said to him, what happened to you? And he said, I took mushrooms, and before that I was fine, and now I think the aliens are coming. The aliens are coming to get me. And she's like, well, there's no aliens coming to get you. And he's like, well, yeah, but it kind of kicked in his... I mean, if you're an enlightened person, you can get things from hallucinogenics, but this guy, if you're a schizophrenic already, you know, that's what does it.
Well, the story, it's like a 32-year-old woman. She did 2 marijuanas, and then she stabbed her boyfriend 200 times, and because, you know, the marijuana what did it. It's like, yeah, because when we look at all the people we asked, you know, definitely like, oh yeah, I've done it twice, I'm going to stab someone 200 times now. It's clear. Yeah, I don't like this. Oh yeah, let's blame the drug. I mean, it's like saying, oh well, you know, children are a trigger factor to why pit bulls maul children. It's like
because they use
If the children weren't there being delicious full of blood, the pit bulls wouldn't maul them, but maybe the problem is the pit bull and not the child. I don't see golden retrievers going around eating children.
Because they use a tiny percentage of examples to justify their laws.
Yeah, I just look. There's some people like if you gave them some sugar, it'd make them go mental. And I'm not comparing shrooms to sugar, but I'm just saying that there's some people they were going to crack sooner or later, and if they take shrooms, it's going to be sooner. I mean, if anything, I'd think, well, maybe that's a good thing if you find out if someone's mental, because it's like, oh, okay, you're mental. You can't handle shrooms. You're a danger to society. There may be like something wrong, but I think there's also like a case of like clearly most people that do these hallucinogenics, they don't go and stab someone 200 times in the chest or drain the blood out of a baby because it's therapeutic. And wouldn't it be nice if we had some sort of filter scheme for like, Minority Report. There we go.
Yeah.
We should just have it.
Maybe not that far.
Well, I'm saying that's like the
but you don't need
bit.
to be Minority Report to know that when someone starts disemboweling fucking animals, they're gonna want to start doing something a bit more spicy. Like you don't need to be a fucking. You don't need to be like.
Let me be the credentialed psychiatrist in the room here. Where's your evidence to suggest that just because he murders babies, he'll go on to do worse things? See,
but if he at some point had been reprimanded, if there was some sort of law in America where murdering dogs wasn't encouraged, maybe he wouldn't have then gone on to kill fucking adults. Because he was.
That's a very anti-authoritarian statement. He's been given permission by everybody. His mother, the mental institution he was in, the police, like all of these people, his neighbours. He's basically been given permission by all of these people that have turned a blind eye to what he's been doing, haven't they?
Yeah, but maybe you need to analyse patterns in society and how people on a individual level operate and match the two together, but there's a separation.
I was going to say there's a point to this you haven't considered. What if the babies, the rabbits, the children, what if they all had it coming? What if they were part of the alien Nazi conspiracy? Huh? Checkmate, bigot.
So on January 2nd, 1979, trial began. He was charged with 6 counts of murder. He took the stand in his own defence, like all good serial killers. He looked awful, having dropped in weight to 107 pounds. His eyes were sunken and lustreless. He claimed to have been semi-conscious during the Wally murder, and he described in detail the way he'd been mistreated much of his life. Oh, bless him.
It's not my fault, you see, because my mother wouldn't let me have my favourite...
Yeah, my favourite cat.
Your case.
Arrest
my case.
He admitted to drinking Wally's blood, but he didn't... I can't really remember much about the second series of murders, he said. I know I'd shot the baby in the head and decapitated it, leaving the bucket in the hope of getting more of its blood, but I don't remember a lot of it, he said. He thought the baby was something else, but did not elaborate. He thought that his problems stemmed from his inability to have sex with girls as a teenager, and he's sorry for the killings. So any girl that turned Chase down, it's your fault.
Basically.
Oh God, that just sounds like King Cobra. That does.
Richard Chase, King Cobra crossover. When, Hobbit?
Hopefully never.
The defense asked for second-degree murder because obviously, he's a poor old thing and he didn't have sex when he was a teenager. So obviously, he wasn't there. He didn't do it. It accidentally happened through a series of mishaps that he'd set in place.
Doesn't everyone have problems with sex as a teenager?
That's literally.
I mean,
what
I
being
was
a
having
teenager
sex.
is about.
I was going to say, I mean, I was having plenty of sex as a teenager, but I can tell you back then it wasn't enough.
Never.
So on May the 8th, 1978, after 5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict of 6 counts of first-degree murder. Were they just hanging out for dinner then, were they?
Yeah, I mean, what's there to deliberate about?
He obviously did it. Why
couldn't it have just been 6 minutes of deliberation? Yeah, he's a fucking wrong-un.
He's a fucking nutter. Well, no, they
maybe
can't
it was
say
like,
that.
look, like they got like 6 minutes in, and everyone's like, he's fucking guilty. Hang the bastard.
I reckon one of them went, look, if we can hang this out till 5 o'clock, we'll get a steak dinner.
But there was also a thing of saying, like, with the jurors, like, maybe the chief jurors there was like saying, look, I know he's guilty, and we're all voting guilty, but we can't just go after like 6 minutes of deliberation. It will be seen as like in contempt of court. So
we got to hang this out to look good.
Look, it's not. We'll just wait here for a while, and we'll get fed, and then we'll come out, and then there'll be absolutely no sort of like appeal process, because it's like, well, the jury spent enough time coming to the conclusion that you're clearly fucking guilty.
So here's some more bits and bobs. Richard Trenton Chase had a thing for blood. He also had a fear of disintegrating. It's fucking. I love the way the jury are like, no, he's obviously fucking nuts, but we'll say that he's not, so we can get him the death penalty.
Million Tarrant says, sound like he needed more shrooms IMO. I agree.
No. Do you know how bad his childhood was, Hobbit? His father was a strict disciplinarian who bickered constantly with his wife. Oh, the fucking humanity of it.
Oh dear. Yeah, that.
Right, about the jury's decision. They didn't want him to get. No, they wanted him to have the death penalty.
Yeah, so they just went, fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. He did it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be a tax burden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So also his winky didn't work. His winky didn't work, so we had to go and see a psychiatrist.
Then winky no work.
What do you mean it didn't work?
He couldn't. He had impotence.
It only gets hard when
the old soldier weren't standing to attention.
But hold on. His winky didn't work, but the woman had an unusual amount of semen, right?
Well, yeah, but that's because she was dead, and that's exciting.
Yeah, sucking blood out of slits he made in her neck. Obviously, is that's the old Viagra for him, isn't it?
The aphrodisiac.
Well, hang on, no. That's that. The unusual amount of semen is he has really big balls, or he went to a circle.
It was all that jizz going back from when he was a teenager. That's why it was an unusual amount.
Is it like it's all pent up? You see,
scary movie backed up.
Oh dear. It's all pent up, and he couldn't. Then he found a release, and he was like, "Oh, I better do." Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, chat. There's certain things about this I find rather unsettling. I'm sorry.
After he moved out of his parents' home, he went through a series of roommates, many of whom reported his bizarre behaviour and heavy drug use. Even the few friends he had considered him weird. Once he nailed shut his bedroom closet door because people were invading his space from in there.
What?
It's safe and effective, lads. He got out and he's safe and effective.
Completely normal behaviour. What are you questioning about this, Fraser?
I mean,
you're not allowed to invade his personal space.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah,
he's a homophobe as well, right?
He was preoccupied with any sign that something was wrong with him, and which held true throughout his adult life. He once entered an emergency room looking for the person who had stolen his pulmonary artery. He complained the bones were coming out through the back of his head and his stomach was backwards and his heart often stopped beating. Maybe it's just like Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have joined the Scientologists.
How about this one then?
Strange the human body, and he just couldn't download the update, and he went mad.
How about this one? Another psychiatrist diagnosed him as paranoid schizophrenic, but thought he might actually be suffering from a drug-induced toxic psychosis.
Why not both?
He was put under observation for 72 hours and it was recommended he stay, but he was allowed to leave whenever he wanted without obtaining permission. Eventually he was released. Isn't the medical system brilliant?
Amazing.
Well, he's not murdering anybody now, so why can we can't hold him?
Yeah, exactly.
So the reason he was blending up animals
right now, so we have to let him go.
Yeah.
It's just costing too much money. Yeah.
The reason he was blending up animals was because he thought his heart would shrink to the point of disappearing from his body.
Yeah, you mentioned that a few times.
Did I mention that one? Did I?
You mentioned it once or twice, but I think you got away with it.
Yeah, I think we've done everything.
Oh, yeah, good. Right.
In light of all this, no, the conclusion. No, we need a conclusion. In light first of all,
He's a fucking
why do we
nutter.
let?
That's the conclusion.
The conclusion is, why do we let people choose their own fucking pronouns?
It's like it's why do we let mental people choose their treatment?
I identify as, why are you stealing my pulmonary artery? Give it back.
I identify as missing pulmonary artery. Oh dear, to that person that watches,
he's there to the judge in his defence. Like, do you have anything to say in your defence? Yes, Your Honour. Why have you stolen my pulmonary artery?
Yeah, put it back.
How can you give me a fair trial when you've stolen my pulmonary artery?
What am I doing in court? What am I doing in court? It was. Oh shit! No, I've just found something from the FBI into. Chase also said that he was Jewish, which he was not, and that he'd been persecuted by Nazis because he had a Star of David on his forehead, which he didn't.
I think spiritually, this guy is Jewish. Look, you need to subject him. Does he turn into a rash if, like, you hold him to hold a silver coin? So
he explained that the Nazis were connected to UFOs, which had telepathically commanded him to kill to replenish his blood. These UFOs followed him round, and the FBI should be able to pinpoint them by putting a radar on him. And then he shoved the cup at Wrestler filled with part of macaroni and cheese dinner. He wanted it analysed for poison.
Yeah.
Wait, so they were working with him, but they're also trying to poison him.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, all right.
So how about this?
You don't understand things like he does.
They were trying to help him to, like, so he didn't die of missing heart syndrome.
It's really weird that the psychiatric hospitals didn't want anything to do with him, because Wrestler, along with the prison mental health professionals, felt he ought to be transferred to a psychiatric hospital. Although he was sent to one for a short time, he soon returned to San Quentin.
Was it the psychiatric hospital's like, we don't want to deal with this?
So that's basically saying the psychiatric hospital saw some shit and they didn't want any of it.
Yeah, they're like, no, this bloke's definitely possessed by a demon.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. This bloke's definitely possessed by a demon. It's not nothing to do with us.
The thing is, pulmonary artery has been, like, presented on an ornate mahogany stand at auction somewhere.
Have you ever heard of soap dish poisoning? So he mentioned soap dish poisoning. Wrestler asked him what that was, and he explained that everyone has a soap dish. If you lift the soap and find that underneath is dry, you're all right. But if it's gooey, you have the poisoning, which turns your blood to powder. The powder then depletes your energy and eats away at your body.
Conclusion, run him, lock him up and throw away the key.
He told a psychiatrist that the first killing had happened after his mother wouldn't allow him to visit for Christmas. He was just shooting his gun out the window of his car. He'd fired shots at other houses, indicate it was not altogether an accident.
Just totally normal guy, nothing to worry about here.
Well, the mother obviously knew enough to keep him away for Christmas, like most schizophrenics that we know.
Jesus Christ. Are any of you aware of...
This is how you get, like, you bring about death penalty, non-death penalty countries, isn't it? Things like that. It's just like,
yeah, throw Richard Chase at Jeremy Vine the next time he's coming out with one of his fucking weird fucking.
Exactly.
Is weird. What about if so and so?
Yeah, what about it? Yeah.
One of his whataboutisms. Go, yeah, Richard Trenton Chase.
What if, like, Jeremy Vine had to cycle to
Doctor Refugee and Doctor mass murdering serial killer? Let's see how long it lasts.
I don't think Jeremy Vine would be so sympathetic for him if Chase was and he was cycling on his way to work, and it's just like, how dare the bus not stop for me on the bus lane as I'm cutting across it.
Jeremy Vine's Twitter is Fortean. The fact that he sees completely different things to everyone else that's reading his Twitter feed.
He must be in Mr. Chase vision. He sees completely different series of events. Like, look, I have to get in front of this bus because he stole my pulmonary artery.
That's why he's got to get in front of the bus so the Nazi UFOs can't see him.
They keep me to the cycle paths to try and contain me and railroad me.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing that's Fortean about cycle paths. They moan about the not enough cycle paths, yet when you make them in London, they don't ride on them.
Because look, psychopaths. No, you may be saying like a psychopath, and then with a picture of a cyclist riding a psychopath means like, here's a lane dedicated to bicycles. What's safe for you to ride because only bicycles can use it. As a cyclist sees this like, psychopaths here,
right?
Good, right, time to side the road so we can demand more of these.
Question.
I have a theory. Cyclists are just like thrill seekers, and they want to like die on the road or something. That's why they don't ride on the cycle path.
It's even worse in places like in America and Australia, where the cycle paths, the lanes are wide enough for cars to go down. So there's been occasions, like I saw one in both Australia and America, where like the guy in America, he undertakes the cyclists which are on the highway by going on the cycle path, and the other one where he's the guy in Australia, he's driving the cycle path, and he says to the cyclist like, "Hey guys, can you answer me a question? What's the fucking point in this path if you're not going to use it?" And the cyclist's like, "Oh, why don't you pull over and we'll explain it to you?"
So do people with mental health issues count as Fortean?
I
mean,
only if they think their blood's turning to powder.
Well,
you may say, "Is this Fortean?" You ask yourself, why would the judge try and steal his pulmonary artery? Is that not Fortean?
Well,
what if they actually did steal his pulmonary artery?
I mean, like people with issues with certain drugs.
Have issues with life. The drugs are just a distraction.
Yeah, like, well, what about I can't even think of the drug now. I'm meth, basically meth.
Yeah.
Meth.
Oh yeah.
Meth addicts.
They're alright, aren't they?
Have you heard of a guy called Fed Smoker?
Oh yes, I've heard of Fed Smoker. Yeah, he's an interesting individual, isn't he?
Yes, we should do Fed Smoker. Yeah.
What's the TLDR on Fed Smoker then, without spoiling too much?
So Fed Smoker is the sort of guy who travel into one city from another, smoke a bunch of meth and nicotine, and then he'd introduce himself to the police like, "I'm onto you evil Nazis, demon crats. I'm onto you, so I'm letting you know I'm here now."
He's an ex-double agent, apparently.
Yeah. I totally believe it. He's
Are
very credible as
some-
Fed Smoker.
Are we ready for some unexplained histories?
Oh boy, are we?
It's not a great deal. Is our universe one of a countless number that exists within a multiverse? Many physicists assume that we might be living in a multiverse, but their basic facts,
but the real question
might
is,
be wrong.
The real question is, are we in a multiverse? And if so, does it explain where his pulmonary artery was stolen to?
How does 2 and 2 equals multiverse?
Because the scientists are bored and it's like, oh well, we can use this boondoggle to justify our existence.
Yeah. One of the examples of fine tuning, which has most baffled physicists, is the strength of dark energy. Oh right, opinion discarded.
Dark energy.
Dark energy.
Yeah, I'm not reading anymore. They've mentioned dark energy. They'll start talking about quantum computers in a minute.
At least with shark science, you can say we definitely know sharks are real, and I've seen sharks myself.
Right.
You know, so that's what you can say about that. Whereas this other stuff, you know, like no one's seen dark energy. It's just make believe.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help. James Webb reveals exoplanet where sand grains fall as rain. Hobbit.
All right.
How?
Oh yeah, because the telescope's so advanced they can see
Yeah.
the sand grains falling.
Yeah. How? How do they
Situated
see the
200 light years away in the constellation Virgo, this remarkable extrasolar world is enormous. Is it John Virgo? Pot as many balls as you can.
I was just going to say it's spotted in the John. It's been spotted in the Crunchy Nut Cluster.
Is it where snazzy waistcoats the constellation Virgo?
Out of curiosity, do Crunchy Nuts still exist? Because I
Yes.
watched all of Space Cadet recently. That was an unusual show. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be a jolly fun jape if we convince people that they've gone into space? So let's recruit and find the most gullible people we can and see if we can convince them. Did you remember the show? Do you hear about the show? It was in 2007.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah. Well, they told them they're going into space and they bought
Yeah.
it,
And so they like train them up to be astronauts. And the thing is, I finally watched it, and then I had like a 1 week thing from I watched like episode 7, and that's when they cut my internet. And I watched the last 3 episodes, and like in the last one, where they're doing all this stuff like burying Mr. Bimby's ashes and the other stuff, it's like if they'd just been a bit more straight edged about it, and not the usual sort of Dutch thing of like, oh, wouldn't it be a jolly good laugh if we just do all this bullshit? If they'd just been a bit more straight about it, they would have been more believable. I reckon it would have been better if they just, like, you know, made it, like, straight and
What the
normal.
fuck? Hobbit, I'm going to have to interrupt you because this is some what the fuck bullshit. Right, so this remarkable extrasolar world is enormous, almost as big as Jupiter, but with a mass more like that of Neptune. What does that mean, Hobbit? That it's big, but it's not heavy?
It's less... So it's... Neptune doesn't have as much mass as Jupiter. So if they're saying that weighs as much as Neptune but is as big as Jupiter, then in other words, it's a planet which is just very hot. Then
how do you know the mass of an object through a telescope?
You know that's a very good question. Like someone was saying,
you stick some like balls right in a shed in front of the telescope, and that's how you can get the mass of the object.
But you listen. I've got one paragraph, and then the next paragraph.
Haven't they say it's like
the next paragraph is up there with shark science. It was originally discovered back in 2017, but now thanks to the James Webb, it has been possible to reveal WASP 107b to be a strange exotic world with scorching temperatures and silicate sand clouds. Bizarrely, this sand is also thought to fall from the sky like rain before turning back into vapour as part of an ongoing weather cycle, unlike anything we've seen on any other planet.
So it's very hot. If you got the point where, like, I think they say in Venus, the sulfuric acid, it never actually, none of the rain lands on Venus because it evaporates before it hits the surface, and then so it's like perpetual rain there.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're saying here as well.
Perpetual sand, like.
Yeah, so it's like it's sand, but then when it gets to the surface, it's so hot that it evaporates.
Yeah, but they're saying it's unlike
Well,
anything seen on any other planet, so it must be.
Yeah, but what happens
to
to sand when it gets hot, Hobbit? What happens to it?
There's the glass, doesn't it?
Yeah, but at some point,
So how do you
even
get-
silica will vaporize into
vapor.
Well, I'm
So
saying
what's
if
the
you
ground
put
made
enough
out
energy into it, it's probably not. It's probably like a sun or something. Or maybe it's a brown dwarf, and so
I don't know.
It's still live.
yeah.
The presence of water vapor and sulfur dioxide in its atmosphere would give WASP 107b the distinct smell of burnt matches, while its atmosphere is thought to churn and swirl due to its raging winds. The only fucking raging wind is the hot air coming out of your fucking mouth, mate.
Oh, your ass. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ. Does this
Venus.
is this myth plausible or myth busted, Hobbit?
Look, I mean, like I could understand, like the way they're saying it's.
it's plausible if you believe in, the cosmology, right? It's plausible because it's all meticulously worked out, and you'll never be able to verify any of this. So yeah, you have to believe.
It's plausible in the sense that they're saying it's a very hot planet, and that's how you can get silica showers.
Well, they're not though, because they don't mention anything about the surface temperature of the planet anywhere in this article.
Do they mention about the star that it orbits, or how close it is to the star?
All they mention is that silica, that sand falls from the sky and then turns back into vapor as part of an ongoing weather cycle, and that's all they say about it.
I happen to know the moon is made of cheese, and my evidence is that they fed moon rocks to cockroaches.
Yeah.
Therefore, moon is made of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't prove otherwise.
Oh God! Scientists are building a device that can induce lucid dreams on demand.
Great. What would we want that for?
I saw something like that in the 60s. There was this, strobes or something, and
Are they trying to blur the line between reality and fantasy?
Oh yeah. So you don't know what to believe, right?
Yeah.
Why would you want to know what to believe?
Yeah.
What are you, somebody who's wants objective truth on the matter? Some conspiracy theorist?
But apparently, those who do experience lucid dreams often report a number of psychological benefits ranging from an improved mood to a reduction in symptoms of anxiety and PTSD.
I can't verify if any of that's true, but I do lucid dream.
Fucking hell, this sounds awful. This is why Eric Wahlberg and Wesley Lewis Berry III have decided to found Prophetic, a new company which aims to produce a wearable device known as Halo that it uses ultrasound and machine learning models to detect when dreamers are in REM to induce and stabilise lucid dreams.
Now I remember the device. Yeah, it was kind of this thing that it's got LEDs and goggles and it flashes your eyes.
Fucking hell, sounds horrible. Oh,
which to me sounds like...
Recreationally, it's the ultimate VR experience. You can fly, you can make a building rise out of the ground, you can talk to dream characters, and you can explore.
Techniques. You lucid.
What?
He's breaking up again.
Your mind.
Don't put another 50p in your phone.
Yeah, dreaming. Look, just lucid dreaming techniques.
Run that for us all again because it's all garbled.
Pretend we didn't hear that, Dom.
Is it a me problem or is it a sound problem?
It's I don't know. I think it's an internet problem.
Yeah.
Your end.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can hear you when you say that. It's just whenever you say anything interesting, that's when it garbles.
Lucid dreaming techniques. It's about how you think before you go to sleep, so you can do mind to take control of your dreams, because you have about 4 hours of deep sleep, then 4 hours of REM sleep, and then the REM sleep is where you take control of your mind, and you can control your dreams, and you can recognize. Firstly, you start to recognize that you're dreaming by trying to, in your dream, just you sleep.
Is it true that when you poop in your dreams, you poop for real?
I've not experienced that.
I've had dreams where I'm pissing, but I've woken up and the bed's not wet.
Yeah, but it's about if you try turning on electrical devices in your dream.
Don't worry,
they won't work as you want them to. Like if you look at a clock in your dream, it won't say the time that you think it is. For example, it's about I don't know. It's about kind of modern things going on in your dream, And
one thing
you
I
could
I
kind of-
say to that is, despite having used them all the time, I've been able to see watches and clocks in my dreams, but I've never seen a phone in my dream.
yeah,
And you
You
think,
can
considering how
see-
often we use the damn things, like, why have I never seen a
Yeah.
phone in my dream?
yeah, but if you think about them before you go to sleep, they'll appear there, and if they don't function
Yeah, but
as
isn't
they
it
would in
weird? Like,
real,
surely we must think about our phones if we're using them all the damn time, and yet, despite all of
Yeah.
that, you know, we're
well, I guess your dreams go back to your ancestral self, but if you think about modern stuff
That's true.
before
Technology,
you sleep,
would
Do
you
I
ever
have
like?
dreams about modern stuff? I mean, one example was like I was on. I had I want to say it's a nightmare because it did wake me up and I wasn't able to get back to sleep. My heart was racing. So I was hiking up this hill and there was this father and daughter and they were sort of trying to do a muddy trail. And I looked at the shoes she was wearing. I said, you don't want to do that trail. The mud there's so bad it will your shoes will get lost in it.
Yeah.
And so they took a different trail. Then I'm walking up it, and it's like, yeah, because for some reason when you go uphill, that's where you find a submarine pen. I'm in the submarine pen and I'm on a concrete pier, and it's like a 30-foot drop into the waters below, and I'm climbing down a ladder. So like I've gone about 10 foot down. And then there's like this sort of scary bit where I push myself off the ladder, I land in the water, and there's sharks there. And just as a shark is about to bite me, I spearfish it. And then it's like I put it into the shore. And by the way, this concrete pier, it had ramps on it. So maybe it wasn't a submarine pen. Maybe it was like an amphibious vehicle pen, whatever. And there's people there who's like preparing the sharks to be eaten. And I go back in to wrestle with an octopus, but it turns out wrestling with an octopus is harder than spearing a shark. So I didn't do so well against the octopus. And then I woke up and like, oh dear, I've bitten off more than I can chew on this one.
well, I can explain that. That's your amygdala, your lizard brain, and your frontal cortex, your logical circuits, at war with each other, and you can tap into your lizard brain by just you can induce it to act when you sleep. And then when you do, you can do whatever you want.
Well,
And
the bit which
I've tried it.
The bit which I found interesting in this was just the fact that I'm. It looks like I want to say a Cold War era thing because concrete bunkers and stuff. That's a certain era of mankind.
Yeah.
David Baumblatt says, "Dear Patriots, hello. My name is David Baumblatt. I'm a military veteran and former FBI agent who has been under constitutional investigation by the corrupt FBI for over a decade. Currently Lee. Yeah.
Currently Lee.
Yeah. Oh, I said it was Lee, like the Chinese name.
Look.
Yeah.
I'd like to recommend. Well, I'd like to talk to you about lucid dreaming, but I'm really drunk right now.
It's about time.
All right.
Anyway, isn't it?
I was going to say, in summary, for lucid dreaming, one of the things you can do, you can even try it tonight, and there's two methods to this. Both involve wearing a watch in your dream. Now, I haven't worn a watch in years, but sometimes I look at the...
Time. It's time. You look at the watch, and if time is wrong, you're in a dream. It's a signifier.
One of the ways I used to do it was like every time I'd look at my watch and then turn away and look again, it would be two different times. And then I thought, hey, I know I'm dreaming now. What happens if I turn away and look at the watch again? The third time I did it, the dream was like saying, okay, I know you're taking the piss now. The metal second hand and the hands of the watch, they actually come out of the glass. The glass hadn't broken or anything. It was as if it was just water or gel. and it was all twisted and warped out of it. And it's like the dream's like saying, "Okay, you're taking the piss. You know you're dreaming now. I know you're dreaming."
Yeah.
But I managed to not wake up, which I thought was pretty cool.
Exactly.
I usually find the second I realise I'm dreaming, bang, I'm out.
Imagine that.
Yeah, but you can train yourself not to do that.
Can you?
You can find signifiers in your dream. The film Inception takes this concept and runs away with it, but this is a whole episode on its own, I think.
Brief aside, right? Can I just say Christopher Nolan really overrated as a director?
Yeah. Agree.
It's alright.
Yeah, but do you remember how brainy you have to be to understand Inception?
Yeah,
but Hobbit, you have to be so brainy. You have to realise that there are several levels to the dream, and you can work out which level which level you're on by literally the missing person who has to stay behind to wake you up. It's that complicated, Hobbit. That's how complicated the film is, Hobbit.
I don't understand Jack Star stories because I'm a simple brain and just think he's bullshitting.
Right.
No, I think he's good. He understands autists, but he doesn't understand the general populace.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's a smart filmmaker for dumb people. I think that's probably the best way to describe him. Right, that's it. We're all done. We're all done. Spooky time's over.
I was going to say, talk about David Lynch and Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog.
Oh, well.
Anyway, night.
We'll do that. We'll do that.